Good evening, race fans, and welcome along to the SOP Motorsport GT2 and GT3 Sprint Cup 2024. We are here for round number 5. It is the Cathedral of Speed. Oh yes, we're at Monza. My name is John Wright, aka Double O Raven, of course. Joining me this evening will be Simon Baggas. He'll be jumping in after the quali session has finished. The GT2's almost finished in qualifying at the moment. A couple of them still out on track. We'll catch up with the results as they come in. But we've had Paul Ricard, Red Bull Ring and Spa-Francorchamps, with Bathurst last time out at night in the rain. It was an interesting one. The majority of the drivers did manage to survive and make it to the end with points on the board, which things running slightly slowly this evening, but there we go. It's left the GT3 Silvers, Timo Guertz, 98 points, 3 trips to the podium from 4 races. See him a point ahead of Valentino Mini. Taylor Brady, in 3rd place, 6 ahead of Nelson Pinto in 4th. Martin Buren and Chris Fielder at 5th and 6th. Only 6 points ahead of Klaus Christensen in 7th. Hristo Shekev in 8th place, with Stefano Giannone in 9th. Michael Firth, the floppy Foxter himself, 15 points. Daniil Volkov should overtake him. Michael no longer in the championship, so Daniil will get himself with a free position there. In the GT3 Pros, smoothly done, Mr. Broadcaster. 112 points for Dan Watts, 3 wins in the last 3 races in his drop round. As a 2nd place, not too shabby at all. Andrei Porshikov is the lead chaser, with Samuel Brakstad on the podium, 2 from 4 races, well worthy of that 3rd place. Lewin Zelch in 4th, with Julian Van Bruff in 5th place. Ivan Trubetskov is only a point ahead of Rob Kieser in 7th. Mario Dido in 8th, and Angelo Zarella on 15 points, no longer in the competition. A couple of drivers actually dropped out there, so it is only the top 7 that will be contesting places. That doesn't seem to have refreshed properly. Apologies for the weird view there. And in the GT2s, it's Ignacy Butek that finds himself on 110 points, 3 wins in a row, much like Watts in the GT3 Pros. Easy for me to say. Sidlowski on 87 points, with 3 podiums to his name as well. The opening round 12th, surely going to be his drop round for the season. Christoph Verstappen didn't make it to the end of the last race. Still very much a contender for the championship, with quite a few races still to go. Boyle didn't make it to the end of the last race. Still sees himself in 4th position. 3 points though ahead of James Rollins in 5th. Patrick Toman in 6th position, with Michael Road and Luca Monroe 7th and 8th. Only a point separating them, with 9th place Thorsten Malcherek on 35 points. Christian Romano with a solid podium after a phenomenal race last time out. See him on 30 points. Missed the first 2 rounds, but definitely going to be one to watch for the podium positions for the rest of the season. The GT2s have done their qualifying. It's Valentino Miri. Although some of the oh, my apologies. They've swapped round. There we go. I didn't get that memo. So the GT3s have qualified. It's the GT2s that are out 2nd. Excellent. We have been robbed of one of the clever cameras, so we'll move on to this one. So in the GT3s then, let's have a look and see how they qualified. Valentino Miri taking 2 purple sectors ahead of Dan Watts in the Pros by a 10th and a quarter. That is quite the time by Valentino Miri, and 2 purple sectors as well. Not too shabby. Butek can still put in times. He's got 4 minutes left to qualify, and he finds himself at 45 hundredths behind Mary. So it looks like the GT2 straight line could certainly pay dividends here at Monza. I'm expecting to see the Mercedes under those circumstances do particularly well, as we saw at Paul Ricard. They're not too bad in a straight line, not too bad at all. In fact, let me quickly, oh no, we'll leave, no, take that off, take that off. There we go. So yeah, was leading the way in the pros with Brackstad in second, Kieser in third place, Morton the Buren in fourth. Only 4 pros out there. Verstappen takes pole. Yep, the GT2 is going to be taking pole in this one. Where were we before we were squirreled? We've got 4 in the pros. In the silvers, Valentino Meri leading the way with Chris Fielder in second place. Then it's Nelson Pinto in third position. Hasn't had the rub of the green in this championship. Will tonight be a turning point? Timo Guertz in fourth position. Then it's Klaus Christensen in fifth. Taylor Brady, his teammate, in sixth. And Hristo Chekev starting in 7th position. The GT2s setting their times at the moment. Hello Simon. Let me just make sure you are audible on the stream. No, you're not. Now you are. Good evening, Simon.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, John. Yeah, slightly late from me, but we're here. We're here.
We are indeed. We are indeed. The Cathedral of Speed, Simon. You did surmise. I'm going to throw you straight in at the deep end. You did surmise the GT2s might do pretty well here. Verstappen's on pole. GT3's done with quali, and Verstappen on pole, and the Mercedes GT2s still out on track setting time. So definitely could be one for the GT2s this week.
Yeah, I expected GT2s to excel here. You know, it's straight after straight after straight, isn't it? So I think it's the biggest gap out in front in qualifying. We've seen a GT2 there almost 0.4 of a second ahead of everybody else. A GT2 I don't think's taken pole position yet, is it? So this is going to be a first
Correct.
in the series as well. So after taking a win at Bathurst for the GT2s, it looks like the GT2s are going to get their first pole position at the minute. Verstappen is leading the way almost 0.4 ahead of Valentino Meri, who surprisingly is a silver class driver. Obviously the McLaren seem to be excelling here, with Chris Fielder also in the top 5 there.
Yeah, I was going to say that's exactly my next train of thought as we're on board with Verstappen. Yeah, Valentino Meri, a silver driver, finishing 0.125 seconds ahead of Dan Watts. That is no mean feat at all. And Valentino Meri for pros, I'm sure will be the trending hashtag. See, I'm down with the kids. I'm sure it'll be the trending hashtag in Discord after the race with a qualifying time like that. That's yeah, it's no mean feat finishing ahead of Watts, even in a car that may be a wee touch OP around here.
Yeah, well, Meri hasn't had the best of championships either, I don't think.
He's leading.
Saying that. No, in second place.
Second.
Meri missed the first round, that's why.
Yes.
They're in second place, but they've had 2 wins and a 4th place at the last round of Bathurst. So, actually, I'll eat my words there. One of the fastest silver drivers in the championship. Just because they missed round 1, that they haven't featured at the top end of the tables yet. So yeah, I'm sure after this round, if it stays like this, at least they'll be leading the silver class championship. Chris Fielder, this will be a good result for him if he can hold on to a podium place as well. That'll excel him up the order. And yeah, Dan Watts seems to be ahead of the rest. It doesn't look like there's a Porsche or Porschekov's teammate Trebetskov in this one, this round. So yes, all to play for, looks like, in the championship, and it looks like everything so far again is going Dan Watts' way in the pro class category, right? So doesn't matter what he seems to do, he always ends up either on pole position or with the race win. So we'll see if that's the same here at Monza. One of my least favourite tracks. Just because of lap 1, turn 1. Once that's out of the way and we've had the massive pile up and the incidents, the race tends to be really good. Hopefully these lot can keep it clean into turn 1, but I'm going to be holding my breath, and we'll see what happens after lap 1.
I think turn 1 gets a bad rap. I genuinely think turn 2 is way worse. The second chicane, anybody that gets through turn 1 breathes a sigh of relief, and then absolutely, yeah. I can't finish that sentence this time of night.
Bushak took second at the end of there,
oh,
right at
so
the end.
He did.
Second.
So he did. Do not adjust your sets. Apologies for the quick
Romano up to 5th as well. Wow.
Just about to mention that as well, yeah. Apologies for the quick flickering on stream there. There we go. I'll just flicker about a bit when we're going between. Sorry if that picture, why is that going so bright? Let's have a look at the final qualifying then. So it was the GT2s that were out there at the end, and it's Verstappen that's taking a purple sector at the end. Romano, wow, 3 purple sectors, 2 of them with the GT2s. But with the GT2s, it's Verstappen, Busek and Romano at first, second and third. I did say, towards the end of the season, watching for the podium positions, Sidlowski in 4th, Rollins separating Sidlowski from team principal Joe Boyle in the Maserati, Luca Monroe in 7th, Toman in 8th, Pell in 9th, and Marusek in 10th position. KTM taking pole, then the Mercedes, then the Audi. I should have clicked my fingers to keep myself going there. Let's have a look. Valentino Miri in the silvers, ahead of all the GT3s, and 7/10 ahead of Chris Fielder, who's only 800ths ahead of Nelson Pinto. So it goes to show you how close, in fact 7,000ths ahead of Timo Guertz. There is nothing separating, less than a 10 separating these three. So yeah, Valentino Miri really putting in a worldie of a time there. Christensen 1.1 off the pace. Lexus should do not bad on the straights in the race. Taylor Brady in the Porsche in 6th, and Zaitsev in 7th position. And yeah, in the pros, it is Watts. And that's gone a bit weird for Fielder, but never mind. So yeah, interesting qualifying, Simon. 45-minute race for this evening, and that pit stop strategy. But the track conditions, 38 degrees, so the drivers might be keen to get into the pits and get those tyres changed. Probably on the halfway mark, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that seems to be the trend in this championship, doesn't it, with these 45-minute races? Drivers are splitting it right down the middle with the tyre strategy. Obviously fuel doesn't come into play even though they need to, but the fastest way seems to be 50-50 on the tyres, so they can have 2 stints at optimal pace.
Yeah, we'll see who can hold the most optimal pace. Will it be the GT2s or the 3s? Oops, and he's
well, you'd like to think what's going to happen now is obviously these GT2s are going to be rockets down the straight, right? But the BMW and the McLaren, definitely right behind the top 2 there, are going to be mighty quick through the first chicane, and actually then through the second chicane. So I don't think it's going to go the GT2's way, especially in the opening lap. And then if a GT3 can hang on to the back of a GT2 and get that slipstream, it might be worth them just staying out and doing a mirror image of whatever their strategy is going to be, because as soon as you break that slipstream from a GT2, you're just going to be losing that extra pace, aren't you? So yeah, it's going to be really interesting. And then you've got Romano there in 5th place. Is he going to be able to jump Marie and Watts at the start here with the outright pace in a straight line?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one off the start. No Ferraris there to get bogged down. Sorry, I was dealing with some technical stuff in the background there. Let's hope that's worked. Apologies, don't adjust your sets if you do notice some flickering when we're in and out of the menus. That's just the HDR kicking in. Who would have thought that Windows 10 wasn't fully optimised? Well, there we go, we're up and running. A quick run down the field. We don't have the fancy overhead cam. But yeah, I don't imagine they'll need too much warming of the brakes for this one. Yeah, 38-degree track temperature, so the tyres will be up to temp pretty quickly. So you can see them on the warm-up just making their way into that turn one. Yeah, Monza should be... Oh, there we go. Yeah, I think we should be good with this bunch of drivers. Fingers crossed, he says, hopefully. Simon shouldn't be too busy with a pen in the booth. We've got Valencia, circuit of the track limits to come, and then of course the biggest talking point in ACC history, probably, Simon, and yeah, likely to be the only place anyone is racing come the 1st of April. It's Nordslife. We're looking forward to this little addition to the ACC stable, and I'm sure the drivers are as well. And the GT2 and GT3s around there is going to be a bit of a fun mix.
Yeah, it's well, I would like to probably say that over one flying lap, the GT3s should be faster, right? There's a lot of tight and twisty sections that the GT2s are just going to struggle on, and then you've just got that long back straight where they can stretch their legs. Well, there's 2 or 3 parts around Nordschleife where they can do that, right? But yeah, ultimately I think the GT3s will be faster than the GT2s around there. But just like in real life, a true multi-class event round there would be absolute chaos, and I am ready for it, you know. GT2s, GT3s, GT4s, maybe even the Porsche Cup. I know the real life Nordschleifer event has GT3s, GT4s, Porsche Cup, and the TCRs, right, the touring cars.
Yeah.
As the 4 classes. So yeah, it'll be good to mix it up and have something different there.
Yeah, definitely will. Yeah, I'd love to see an event. Yeah, GT3, GT2, GT3, and GT4. I think
the grid size is the biggest. It's going to have the biggest grid size in ACC as well. I think 120 pit boxes. I need to check that.
Really?
I need to check that. I might be wrong. It's going to be some. It's definitely the largest, bigger than the Suzuka 105 big grid that they can have there. It's definitely bigger than that, I think.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, absolutely down for that. That would be phenomenal. 177 corners with 120 cars. Easy. Said no telemetry provider ever. Pitwall Live melting at the very thought.
Oh, there you go. I think it's going to be 108 grid slots.
108.
So, yeah. That makes it the largest.
Yeah, that is.
I can't imagine 108 cars at Nordschleife, but that's what it is.
Yep, that's going to be insane. Hello to everyone in the chat, by the way, Nelson, Robin, and hello, good evening, Simon. Good luck to all, have a great race. Valentino to Pro, he was doing 46s. How come the stream almost a minute and a half behind? That would be a YouTube encoder thing. There is a sacrifice you need to pay for the nice graphics. But there are the green lights. It's foot down, it's flat out, and it's flying into that turn number 1. Here comes Romano in the background in the Audi. He's making up good time and good positions. Let me just have a look at this one. Yeah, he's up 2 places already. Sadlowski making a good start as well, unsurprisingly. Nelson Pinto, making contact. Let's go 3 wide on the way in. We've got the McLaren on the inside, on the extreme inside there, holding his brakes. Bit of contact with Dan Watts on the exit to the corner as Christian Romano sneaks his way through there. He's had a very handy start indeed, as well as Joe Boyle, making up 4 places off the start, and he's about to make it another 2 as he heads into the second chicane, with a 3 wide in the background being led by Nelson Pinto. We've got the McLaren. Oh, look at that Maserati slide its way through there. That is beautiful stuff there. Chris Fielder losing out. Joe Boyle up 5 spots already. Luca Monroe's had a very good start as well. He's made it up 3 positions overall. None of them, unfortunately, going to get him any extra points in the championship, but he's certainly knocking on Rollins' door as they head out of the Lesmos. Up at the front of the field, Christopher Stretman is down a position. He's no longer leading the race. We're going to go straight into replay mode and watch the opening minute of that then. Oh yeah, the Mercedes made his way into. I got caught up with it. There we go. That was the contact in the background that distracted myself. But the race leader, look at that Mercedes around the outside. It's not even a competition. The KTM just absolutely outgunned. Look at that. Before they even get through turn number 2 and into the chicane, the Mercedes comfortably in front absolutely destroys the curves through the chicane, and that is a very handy lead. Pretty early doors then for Ignacy Butek, who we could jump on board with there. Great first lap there for Butek and for Christian Romano. He's, as I say, he's made it up too. Sadlowski's followed him as well. Watts down a position but still leading the pros. He has got ahead of Valentino Miri, who was the McLaren, going slow on the inside. Realised it was a 3 wide. He was on the inside line, really lost a lot of pace through there. Boyle up 5 positions overall. It's usually not till at least halfway through the race you get to say that, but no, decides to get it done in the opening couple of laps this time. Why not? Maybe work it out like when you're playing golf. Just put it in the hole from the fairway. Makes it a lot easier than putting.
Doing what he does best. Making decisions up in the race.
He really is. Yeah. If ever there was a fitting phrase for a team, and especially the principal, in that Maserati. But yeah, easy to say, Simon. Safe to say, a very good start right through the whole field there. Not much in the way of incidents at all, thankfully.
No incidents whatsoever. I am thanking my lucky stars tonight, John. I don't know what's going on. Maybe we host more races at Monza because, I've always avoided it due to that one instance. They all negotiated that rather smoothly. It was fantastic to watch, actually, because the GT2s had a lightning start. Well, you can see the top 4 now are all GT2s. Joe Boyle up 5 places, like you said. James Rawlins and Luca Munro there looking to make moves on the GT3s. And I mean, compared to qualifying pace, the GT3s are actually struggling for race pace, aren't they? The GT2s are coming right through the field as Joe Boyle gets past Valentino Miri heading into the very next lap.
Indeed, yeah. Butek set an early opening lap. I should have a transparent background, but at least it popped up. Chris Fielder crosses the line in the Benson and Hedges livery. Absolutely love that. Tip of the hat, obviously, to Jordan there, as it says on his. Oh, Boyle. Oh no, I'm not sure what happened there. Was it the McLaren of Valentino Miri that got a bit out of shape there, or did Boyle from this angle? Couldn't quite make that one out, but whatever it is, it's Boyle up to 6th position, and he is now hunting down Dan Watts, as the onboard camera with the Maserati is absolutely woeful. Who designed that? Anyway, on with the front splitter, you can see Dan Watts ahead of him. Watts himself in a bit of a battle. He's got Christian Romano just ahead of him. Romano, another one of the drivers, getting an absolute worldly of a start. Up a position, has lost the spot to Sadlowski actually. My apologies, he's down on a position he was. Sadlowski though up to 3rd place.
Yes. Romano losing that spot to Sadlowski, the Mercedes grunt, isn't it? It seems to, out of the corners, just push these drivers through every single lap. But Dan Watts is doing a great job to hold on to the back of Romano there. That's keeping him out of the window of Joe Boyle, because Joe Boyle's got to defend from the 3 GT3s right behind him. Miri, Pinto and Fielder, they're all in close proximity as Pinto's looking for a move up the inside of the McLaren now as they head into the final turn. Is he going to make it stick? Not this time around then. So Miri holds on to the position, but there is a gaggle of cars right behind Boyle, Miri, Pinto, Fielder, Rawlins, all looking to pounce if someone makes a mistake. And just a bit further back, Munro is looking to make a move on Gertz to try and climb their way up into the top 10. It's turned into a fantastic race so far. I absolutely love this championship, this GT2, GT3 battle from track to track. It's been tantalising to watch, I have to say. And I'm not just saying it because it's an SOP championship, right? If this was anybody's championship, it would be fantastic to watch.
Yeah, it's really good racing. As we're just watching the battle between Luke and Monroe. I've just popped on a replay there. Monroe losing the position, and then the KTM just saying goodbye. That's like a GT3 versus a GT4. The KTM. Oh, and here comes, that was Klaus Christensen in the background. Monroe getting a bit friendly with the gravel there. Don't throw away the advantage that you've got in a straight line by losing it with the gravel on the tyres. Great battles right through the field again. Absolutely love this, as Simon said. On board with the Porsche.
I'm surprised to see Klaus so far down the order in the Lexus. He usually has the straight line speed advantage. We saw it at Bathurst. We saw it at Red Bull Ring. He was fighting for those podium positions. He took pole position at Bathurst. I'm surprised to see Klaus so far down the order in the Lexus here.
Yeah, to be honest, I thought he would do. Oh, and that's not a good corner he's taken there. I almost choked on the tee. That wasn't a good Ascari there for the Lexus at all. Taylor Brady in the Porsche, teammate or not, that's surely going to have the run he thought about it. Couldn't quite get the grunt when he got out with the slipstream though. Verstappen goes sub 47 through Parabolica. Lexus, oh there we go, using all the corner exit there, right out onto the yellow sausage curve on the outside. Is the Lexus of Christensen. His teammate absolutely hunting him down at the moment. It's ERT v ERT just outside the podium spots for the silver. Yeah, apologies, but for some reason my screen goes weird when I'm broadcasting it. Luca Monroe making up positions. Chris Fielder tumbling down the order.
Oh yeah, turn 1 incident. Nelson Pinto, Chris Fielder.
Let's have a look at this one then. BMW. Oh, pulling up. Oh yeah, again, look at the straight line speed of the GT2. Oh, car ahead. Pinto looking for a look at it. Inside. Oh, Valentino Mini goes past. Extra touch and yeah, quick spin. And that's put Fielder down. Luca Monroe's now got a yellow flag and dropping down the order. So too Timo Guert. So I think it might have been
No, they're still going. They're still going.
Oh. Okay,
maybe there was a little bit of contact.
Oh, we've got a little bit of contact and a little bit of door rubbing and a little bit of lead change up at the front of the field. It is Christopher Verstappen and Ignacy Butek trading positions up at the front. Don't know what happened there. But yeah, don't adjust your spectacles. That I saw that too. Both cars still firmly on the track. Butek still in the lead of the race, but not looking quite as firm as we can see in that second chicane. The KTM really hunting them down now. Oh, front splitter on there, not as good as the onboard it seems. This is Chris Fielder we've jumped on board with for some reason. Let's see what Verstappen can do on this lap. No one in the pits as yet. So no one dashing in for the Uber undercut. The KTM though, look how close, getting out of that first corner. He's all over the back of him once again. So the Mercedes, as we've seen, in a straight line can absolutely get the job done, but on the brakes, they might need to invest in some, it would appear, because you can see the Mercedes here absolutely pulling away from the KTM, but as soon as they get to the braking zone, wow, he's almost, I don't know why we're flashing the pits here, but he's taking the lead of the race. Verstappen has gone full send, inadvertently or not. Oh no, they've gone side by side again, and Butek retaking the lead of the race into the Lesmos. The KTM could go for a cutback on exit, surely not. Nope, the Mercedes is going to have a bit of a runaway into the braking zone to come, and back under the rear spoiler comes Verstappen. This is an incredible battle, Simon. It is just an absolute game of cat and mouse.
Yeah, it is. It is. The KTM seems to be the stronger of the two in the corners, doesn't it? And then the Butek's able just to hold that advantage by the end of the straights. But yeah, the KTM looks planted right now. Seems to be the faster through the corners. He just can't quite get that run that's needed before the end of any of these straights. The Mercedes has got the legs on the KTM in that respect. So yeah, cat and mouse, like you said. Whilst they're battling up at the front though, Paul Sadlowski is slowly closing. Same as Romano and Watts, they're not too far behind in 4th and 5th. Marie now has pulled a 2-second gap on Joe Boyle, and Joe Boyle's slowly getting closed in by James Rawlins there. So we're going to have some more fantastic battles. Just to let you know, Klaus Christensen's the first one to pit, and Chris Fielder was involved in another incident, so he is now at the rear of the field.
Yeah, we're on board with Patrick Toman, who's got himself entrenched in a battle here. Morton the Buren is the driver. He's looking to get his way past Buren in 15th position overall. I think, yeah, he's up to Toman up 4 places. So Rob Keyser still in the starting position, but that might not be the case come the end of the race, given how quickly he's being hunted down here. We can see Toman making his way past Buren. The GT2s really are getting it done in the race, as Simon said. And it is Toman using some KTM power over the Porsche to put himself ahead of Morton and closing in on Keyser. Chris Fielder has come into the pits. Klaus Christensen, first driver to come in and out again. We've got another one that's close as well. Samuel Bragstad closing in on Nelson Pinto. This is 2 GT2 cars having themselves a battle, but it is another big brain Porsche that is involved. It's Nelson Pinto in the BMW ahead as they head into Ascari. That's James Rollins ahead of him. Now, nothing separating him from Joe Boyle ahead of him other than 1.9 seconds. Valentino Miri back ahead. Dan Watts, as Simon pointed out, doing an incredible job keeping up with that Audi of Romano. He is driving the absolute wheels off that BMW. Look how close he's managing to get. Really good onboard camera with this. Oh, as he comes into the pits. It's not halfway, is it? Nope, 13 minutes in.
Wow, early stop there. I wasn't expecting that one.
Yeah, you've just vocalised my thoughts there, Simon. Wow. Yeah, that was me. That was a sharp inhalation of air. That is unbelievably close, and that's given Christopher Streppen a solid lead there, Simon. I'm not sure we could have got much closer to contact there. The Mercedes, I think, forgetting just how much braking time it needs into turn 1 there.
Yeah, getting very loose on the brakes there. All it takes here, see, you lose that split second loss in concentration, that closing speed. He hasn't anticipated it very well. He was closing rapidly on the KTM there, Verstappen heading into turn 1, and obviously with the extra speed, he's just misjudged his timing to get the car slowed down. Luckily, there was a big enough gap to hold on to second place, but he will have his rear view mirror now engulfed with the other Mercedes of Paul Sadlowski. So instead of leading this race, he's been overtaken by Verstappen and he is now under threat for second. So going to be a mighty battle for the top 3 places there, but I think that's going to be enough for Verstappen to keep hold of this lead now, because he seemed to have the pace advantage in the corners over Bouchek. He just couldn't get by on the straight, so now he's able to stretch his legs and go full attack mode and race the line that he wants. But as I say that, too much attack. He's in the gravel there, and he almost ended up losing that car there, so he's got to be careful out in the lead.
He does, yeah. Looks a bit glary, Simon, but I've popped up a screen so you can get an idea of what we've got going on, because yeah, it just dawned on me there that yeah, the stream's a minute and a half behind. There you go. Some live footage, like you say, it's a bit glary, but you'll you'll be able to keep an eye on what's going on. We've got Pinto and the Buren in the pits. Watts back out with the pits ahead of Christensen. Fairly unsurprisingly, their Fielder down at the back of the field, but we're going to see him raise up quite a few positions as more drivers come into the pits. This was a battle brewing before the pit stops there. Ignati Buthek, another battle brewing. He has fellow Mercedes driver Paul Sadlowski chasing him down. He was battling for the lead for the opening 13 minutes. That battle has been abated for the moment as they head towards Ascari, 8 laps in, 1.2 seconds down on the race leader. Sadlowski only 0.8 behind. Gwertz and Luca Monroe, another GT2 car on a charge. There is the KTM lurking with intent in the background. Monroe up a few positions at the moment, 5 in fact. We'll see how many of them he can hold after the pit stop. We're going for a slightly longer stint than some of the drivers. Pinto I'm thinking that is about to change. Oh yeah, no, Dan Watts is ahead of Nelson Pinto. That'll update. There we go. I was going to say, that's a worldie of an in-lap from Nelson Pinto. He's got himself ahead of Watts, but not quite got himself that far up the field. Oh, the KTM just losing a bit of time on the inside as Guertz gets a very good parabolic exit. Neither of them electing to come into the pits. Neither race leader Christopher Streppman in the KTM. And that gap between Butek and Sidlowski now growing ever so slightly back up to 1.1 seconds. Romano, yeah, still running fine. Valentino Mini, not far behind them actually. I think Romano might have had a slight off track. Nothing there. Yeah, nothing in the incident sheets. Boyle still out on track, so too is Rollins. Brackstad in the Porsche, still keeping pace with the drivers just ahead of him as well. A couple of the pitted drivers. Oh, and that is Samuel Brackstad going for... Oh no, sorry, that's Chris Fielder he's going past who has pitted. That isn't James Rollins. Rollins just ahead of him in the SOP car. Can't see any of the paint job from there, that's disappointing. Now there we go, in the Maserati, Valentino Mini now giving Romano a good old run for his money. And the silver driver took the overall pole for the GT3s ahead of Pro Championship leader Dan Watts. And much like Watts, he is absolutely hanging on at the back of the Audi. And yeah, Valentino Mini, Simon, comes into the pits, having a phenomenal outing here at Monza. Took overall pole, and yeah, he was keeping up with Romano there, much the way that Watts was as well. So yeah, definitely got a bit of talent behind the wheel of that car.
Yeah, we're getting to the halfway point now, so it's when I'm expecting drivers to come into the pits. I was just so surprised to see Dan Watts come to the pits so early and sacrifice having the slipstream from the GT2s. So it's going to be interesting to see if Valentino Marie can get out in front of Dan Watts. It was only about a second and a half between them, so we'll see if the early stop has worked in Watts' favour or not. Same for Pinto as well. Was trying to look good for a podium place in the silvers. We'll see if that converts once all the pit stops are out the way. But at the minute it seems to be status quo at the front. Nobody's blinked yet. The top 5 were all GT2s, so they've...
Oh, big mistake! Big mistake! Oh no! Okay, massively unprofessional, I know. Sorry, couldn't help myself there. That was, yeah, saw that coming a mile away. Klaus Christensen, if it wasn't for bad luck, he would have absolutely none whatsoever in this series. Wrong place, wrong time. Nelson Pinto's not had the rub of the green on this one either. I did mention that at the start. But it is Pinto makes a mistake on the way into Ascari. Ends up on the gravel car, completely unsettled. Almost saves it there, but it spins back around. And of course, the nose meets the nose. Both cars. Oh, and Pinto trying to get his car out of the way as quickly as possible. And yeah, it doesn't look like he's got any steering, and I don't think we're going to have much in the way of aerodynamics there for the Lexus. Monza doing Monza thing there, Simon. The slightest of miscalculations by Pinto collects himself an innocent bystander. Pinto's in the pits, and Christensen, he's got a forlorn Lexus. Both of them chasing down a podium there.
They were. I mean, Klaus Christensen had absolutely nowhere to go. He was just a sitting duck in that situation when Pinto lost that car. I mean, whether he chose to go left or right, he was going to get tagged. So yeah, just wrong place, wrong time. Super unfortunate there for Klaus Christensen. And Nelson Pinto's day is done. That's how quickly it can go wrong here at the Temple of Speed, Monza. You know, 1 foot on the grass, 1 curb taken too aggressively, and because of the speeds you're travelling, it is game over. Yeah,
it really is. So yeah, Pinto in the pits has quite a bit of damage he's going to have to repair there. Christensen's still out and running, so too is Rusek. Christian Romano on his way out of the pits. Here comes Dan Watts. As Dan Watts got the undercut into turn number 1, he's got it. Dan Watts is back ahead of Christian Romano, so a phenomenal stint out of the pits for Watts. That's put him back up ahead of the GT2. Isn't going to get him any points, of course, but yeah, it's the competitive nature of these drivers. I'm sure they're always happy to finish as high up the overall grid as possible. So can Romano close this one back down in the Audi? Onboard cam's not too bad on Audi, actually. Let's stick with this for a minute. There is Verstappen and Busek. 2.4 seconds separate them up at the top of the field. Sidlowski was almost, or just over 3 seconds down. So these two have had an absolutely incredible race so far, not losing any pace at all. Slight incident for Busek, but he certainly gathered that up again. Brackstad into the pits as well. We'll see where he comes out compared to Watts. Going to see quite a few changes here. Taylor Brady is, as you would expect, ahead of his teammate after taking that damage, so he'll be chasing down a podium now in the silver. Zachev in the pits, Toman, Monroe all in the pits as well. Brackstad, Busek and Verstappen. Sidlowski has stayed out. He fancies himself another couple of laps, so too has Joe Boyle. Oh, sideways through the second chicane there. The Segundo Variante. Sideways in a Maserati. Love to see it. Sidlowski at 9 seconds up the road. The Mercedes really does have that straight line speed advantage here at Monza. Absolutely magnified at Monza, it's safe to say. At 9 seconds up the road there. Timo Guertz still out, so too is Kieser. Then it is Verstappen who is out the pits. Watts is a bit closer. Wow, Watts really has been putting in the laps, and I don't know what's more surprising, my surprise and the fact that he's done it. Brackstad.
Well, I think the early undercut has actually worked in his favour there. Marie was only a second and a half behind coming into the pits, and now Marie's almost 5 seconds behind Watts. So it's definitely paid off getting that early stop. The fresh tyres, you know, they've definitely worked in the favour of the undercut. Even jumping Romano there, who was just in front of Watts before the pit stop phase. So yeah, 2.5 seconds adrift. Romano hasn't even got an answer to Dan Watts now. I thought Romano would have been able to close up on the slipstream, you know, the straight line speed difference, but not to be 2.5 seconds behind Dan Watts, as pretty much all the leaders come in, apart from, you guessed it, Mr. Joe Boyle. He likes to lead the race at some stage before he makes his pit stop, so he's getting his camera time in, John.
He is indeed, yeah. Current positions gained for Joe, 11.
Yeah.
Not a bad day's work so far. Unsurprisingly, the most positions gained out of anyone so far. Guertz with 8 under his belt. Sidlowski though into the pits. I thought Seguin Pell was getting closer, but that gap is now spreading back out. There is Sidlowski coming out of the pits. There is Verstappen through. Butek is through. Here comes Sidlowski. Here comes Dan Watts. Dan Watts has got the Uber undercut again. He's going to be ahead into the braking zone. Is there nothing that Dan Watts can't do? What a drive in that BMW. The Uber, I mean, yeah, you don't always need to get it done on track, Simon. To be the complete racer, you need to have strategy under your belt as well. It's one of the things I massively compliment drivers like Christian Romano and Klaus Christensen for. Dan Watts has got it. He's got it in spades as well. That is, yeah, not too shabby. Even if the more powerful GT2s do catch him, to get them through the pit stop phase, that's not no mean feat.
No, it's a job well done there. I mean, you could even put it down to experience, right? Is you can gain almost 5 seconds in a pit stop if you can get it right. So Dan Watts, the pro racer that he is, he's definitely showing them how it's done, getting that early stop in. It must have been a fantastic stop at that, to jump not one but 2 GT2s and pull the gap to the next GT3. So yeah, he's up to 3rd place overall. Verstappen and Busek, they're obviously in a race of their own, almost 5 seconds ahead, but Dan Watts also pulling away from Sidlowski as well. So didn't have an answer to them before the pit stops. Definitely has the answers after the pit stops. Looking to secure 3rd overall and obviously take another pro win.
Yeah, indeed, yeah. A race of 2 halves for Watts. And 2 fairly uneven halves as well. Simon and I both surprised at how early he came out of the pits. But yeah, it just goes to show why we're in the commentary box and he's out winning Pro Championships.
I'd like to change that, John. I'd like to change that. Because we're now iRacing drivers, not ACC drivers.
Right, that's, yeah, oval racers, Simon. Oval racers.
Oval racers, yeah.
That's it.
Can only turn left.
Oh, look at the Porsche going a straight line. Oh, and it's 2 cars he's gone past. Is that Joe Boyle just coming out the pits? It is. Joe Boyle comes into the pits as Brackstad in the Porsche gets a phenomenal run in the turn 1. Let's watch that one again. Yeah, from here, as you can see, we're going to see Boyle coming out the pits, but Brackstad, it's easy to see why he's in the pros. That Porsche, look at the exit he gets out of Ascari. Absolutely annihilates the McLaren in a straight line. Oh, as they get to the start-finish line, he's popped out there as Boyle out in the pit lane. Moves himself over, and he's almost... Oh, in fact, is Boyle ahead of Rollins? Or has Rollins got right back into this? I think Rollins has got back into this. We've stumbled on another battle there as Rollins is within 6/10 of Boyle, who's got Guertz and Brackstad ahead of him. Now, we've seen in this race the GT2 is doing well in a straight line. If a battle ahead keeps going on, James Rollins is in with a good chance of getting himself past one Joe Boyle, which would be, yeah, quite the move so far. Rollins down 2 positions overall, so he'll be keen to get some spots back. I'm absolutely sure. Verstappen back out in the lead of the race, 2 seconds ahead of Butek. It is Watts in 3rd overall, ahead of Sidlowski, who's up three positions in the Mercedes since the start of the race. Christian Romano back to where he started. Valentino Miru in 6th, Samuel Brackstad in 7th, Timo Guertz in 8th, Boyles in 9th, overall 5th in the GT2s with Rollins chasing him down. Kieser in the Porsche back out 11th place overall. And he is, yeah, 3rd in the pros. So he is on for the podium. The other pro driver, I'm having to use 2 screens for this. Of course, Morten Bjorn, the 2 Porsches, not faring as well. Although Brackstad in the silver, fairly showing them both how it's done on this one. Luca Monroe up 3 places as well in the GT2s. He's ahead of Zachev and fellow GT2 driver Patrick Toman, who himself has made up 4 spots. Buren 15th overall, but up 2 since the race start. Musek in 16th, he's made up 5 as well. Klaus Christensen in the damaged Lexus, he's going to nurse this one home ahead of Pearl and his teammate Brady.
Yeah, and Rollins is all over the back of Boyle now, looking to make a move for that 5th place in class. It's worth noting, it definitely didn't pay off for Linksy there, going the longest of everybody. Not only did he lose spots, well, actually he didn't lose any GT2 spots, did he? But he did drop down the order with the GT3s coming past him in the pit stop window. But also that did let James Rollins into the picture as well, who he was quite far ahead of actually before the pit stop window. So he's under pressure from Rollins now. The 2 Maseratis, they're fighting for glory amongst themselves, aren't they? Who's the fastest Maserati here, Boyle or Rollins? Rollins is going to have the slipstream advantage coming down the main straight here now. We'll see if he can get it stopped in time, John.
Yeah, that has been the big question. The battle is going to be pretty even, though obviously both in the Maserati, so they're both using the same brake pads. Oh, he does get nice and close, just wide of that entry apex, but he does get a good run on the exit. Not as good as Boyle ahead of him though. And you can see, I did wonder if they were going to catch up and get involved in the battle ahead of him, but Guertz, he's put 1.6 seconds of a gap there. Brackstad not wasting any time either. Yeah, always start sticking towards the end of the race. Fun times. Where is Brackstad? There he is. Yeah, so on board his Porsche, the engine absolutely wailing. Fending off the advances of Timo Guertz. He's got a good 6/10 gap there. Boyle with not so much of a gap. In fact, that's got even smaller again. As we can see, Rollins all over the back of him. This is going to be quite the defensive display by Boyle if he can fend off Rollins. We've seen that Boyle can make up places in the races. Can he keep those places though? Rollins again closing up very well in the slipstream. The two Maseratis evenly matched on track. It's all down to the drivers, and at the minute it looks to be in the hands of Rollins, although Boyle absolutely flies through Ascari there. Oh yeah, and that's opened that gap back up very nicely indeed. This is yeah, quite the battle between these two, Simon. We know they're both very good, quick, clean, firm, fair drivers. It's the type of thing we'll love to watch.
It is indeed, yeah, they are definitely fair drivers. That's a good assumption to make of Boyle and Rawlins. So I don't think there's going to be many fisticuffs in that sense. But I am noticing that Joe Boyle is getting rather loose in the middle part of this Monza circuit. So it's worth noting that that's where James Rawlins could get the move done. As we're riding on board now with Tommen, who is trying to hold off the Porsche of the Buren. You very rarely say the Porsche has some good straight line speed. It's usually the Porsche having to defend against everybody else in a straight line. But that closing speed of that Porsche, wow, that's very, very fast against the KTMs there. But that's been tail of the tape for the entire championship, right? The GT2s are much, much slower in the corners.
They are indeed. We've had a positional change. I'm going to jump back and watch a replay of this because that's Boyle now ahead of Guertz.
Ooh.
Okay, so Timo Guertz is ahead here. This is into, of course, turn number 1. We'll go for a bit of helicam just so we can catch all of the action. Ooh, the wow. Maserati. Wow.
Oh.
Yep, all the oohing and ahhing there. The Maserati absolutely getting it done on the brakes, but that is, yeah, Boyle ahead. So we were talking about Boyle potentially defending until the end of the race. But then somebody had to remind the commentary team that it's Joe Boyle that we're talking about. So no, what we need to be doing is looking ahead as we can. Oh, he's gone for the two. Oh, no way, don't do that to us. Please let me see.
Wow. Oh.
Okay.
What a gigantic battle.
That is incredible. Yes, so we've missed exactly what happened, but we can guess that Rollins got a lot of slipstream, missed his brakes ever so slightly into the second chicane. There may have been a coming together between the three of them, but out with the Lesmos, they've returned to the positions they were in on the way into the second chicane, which is Boyle in the Maserati ahead of the McLaren. The McLaren, I said, was gapping them in the battle they said they wouldn't be getting involved in. Sack the commentary team. But Joe Boyle making an absolute mockery of me there, so thanks very much for that, Joe. Great driving, good avoid. Nice. So let's see if this is. Yes, it is. Haha. Here we go. Thank you, technology, for working in my favour. Let's have a look and see exactly what did occur over the apex. So he wasn't even in the slipstream, actually, Rollins. He just went for the double overtake. Two wheels on the grass, pings over. Oh, and they just made contact on the way out anyway. With the McLaren right out on the gravel, and yeah, that was of course Rollins very politely watching his rejoin. Monza very much doing Monza things, Simon, and the SOP drivers doing SOP things. We're into the last 10 minutes. We've got Boyle, Guertz and Rollins entrenched in a battle, Toman and Morton the Buren entrenched in a battle, and Christensen battling with his team. Oh, and that is a big tap in the rear there, was that? That looked like a bit of a bump draft there. Someone's been practicing on the ovals. Brady and Christensen battling for 17th and 18th as well, Simon. But it does look like Verstappen has got this one pretty comfortably in the bag with that 2.9 second lead he's got.
Yeah, that was. I think that was always going to happen because Verstappen seemed to have the pace advantage in every single corner. He just could not find a way through. But as soon as he got the move done, he's able to stretch his legs. Bouchak's comfortably there in second place. Looking at the standings now, Bouchek's won the
Oh, what
last
a move
3
round the
rounds.
outside. Sorry, Simon. Let me just, pop back on the replay of this. We've just seen Morton the Buren give it the full RTO from the Big Brain Racing Porsche. Went round the outside of Parabolica. That is a very, very, very good move. The KTM ahead stayed over to the right hand side for as long as possible. The Porsche then took the invitation. If you want it, go round the outside, and yeah, before they even get in to turning the wheel, and he's held that one very nicely. Nicely done there. Oh yeah, no, so it's Patrick DeMann, and the Buren is still ahead. There we go, that was another McLaren side. But sorry, yes, Nelson Pinto, you were saying.
No, Bouchek I was on about. He's won the last 3 rounds. So he looked like he was dominating this championship. Verstappen won the opening round, but then has had a 3rd, 5th, and he didn't even finish Bathurst. So it's been a bit of a up and down championship for Verstappen. Looking to make amends here with another win to take it to number 2 in the championship, and he's going to try and close that gap to Bouchek. He has to win every single round left in the championship if he wants to overthrow Bouchek in the overall standings. Sadlowski's sitting there in 2nd place with 2 seconds and a 3rd. Going to come away with another 3rd here. He's comfortably ahead of Romano. And worth just pointing out, actually, Klaus Christensen, for all the troubles he's had, he's actually 4th in class down there in 18th place. Oh no, down into 5th now because Brady's been able to get the job done.
Wow, speaking of getting the job done, sorry, Joe Boyle getting himself ahead of Valentino Miri. Wow, what a move. That Maserati. Boyle has got those brakes absolutely dialed. I'm now confused as to how Rollins was managing to keep pace with them. Those brakes, he was, as Simon was saying, looking a bit sketchy in a couple of parts of the lap, but yeah, on the brakes into turn 1 and 2, no sketch whatsoever. Boyle absolutely flying past Valentino. Curse to the commentator, did someone say?
It is. He was literally flying then. The curbs almost sent him into the barriers. He managed to save it, but he's just undone all his hard work, losing both positions to those McLarens, and now he's got Rawlins back on his rearview mirror.
Yeah, we'll go back to the live action as quickly as possible. We'll just see Boyle. No, didn't touch the grass. Oh, curb. We did well to save that. Yeah, you saw the extra steering there. Didn't hold on to the position, as Simon said, and yeah, now got himself a whole lot of headache there. Oh, wow. Timo Guertz there, merciless on that exit curb. If you've got warnings left to use, I mean, it's not, it's one of those, if you've got 4 penalties, if you're going to use them, might as well make them count. Not sure 100% back that yet, deliberately using penalties, but when you're trying to find every single advantage that you can, but Guert's trying to find every single advantage on the way out of Ascari. They're really on those track limits, and Joe Boyle now on the limit of losing another position then. The slightest of mistakes. Murasek is on the back of Brady. They've both managed to get themselves ahead of the battered and bruised Lexus, which is now coming under pressure from the battered and bruised McLaren. Chris Fielder looks like he's going to get this one done around the outside of Parabolica, or is he? Nope, the Lexus still looking to fight back, but in the McLaren's made a bit of a mistake there. Let's go to leave the Lexus sitting in front. Let's see what's happening with Timo Guertz. Oh, Joe Boyle's back at it again. Can he get the second chicane right this time? He's got past Valentino Miri. Once again, underestimating the overtaking powers of Boyle. Is he going to be defending from Rock? No, of course he's not going to be defending. He's going to be overtaking. That is Joe Boyle now hunting down Valentino Miri again. James Rollins has got himself an overtake done there. I think maybe a slight mistake there by Valentino Miri. Let's jump back and have a look. So there is the overtake from Boyle. Yeah, the McLaren realised that was done, moved out of the way. Got a good run out of the second chicane into the Lesmos. Not as good as Rollins though. He's right on the back there, very patient. the Maserati outbraking the McLaren once again, and yeah, you'd have to think that Timo Guertz is definitely going to be on full concentration mode, given that he's already been overtaken by the Maseratis so far. Slightly
Yeah,
yellow.
I was going to say earlier on, John, maybe it is. I didn't think they would make that much of a difference, but maybe it is the fact that Joe Boyle was the last to stop and he's on those fresher tyres. They're only 2 or 3 laps newer, but maybe that's what's making the difference. That's why you can brake so much later into these chicanes, and that's where he's making the moves. So maybe that is what's helping him right now at this stage of the race. 3 minutes to go. He's got the freshest tyres out on track, and he's able to make moves on these McLarens.
Yeah, I mean the track temperature is at 38 degrees. It is fairly warm out there, so the tyres you would expect to be able to do about an hour, but if the drivers are, as we say north of the border, ragdolling the cars around, the tyres could be subject to a fair bit of graining. But Boyle, whatever it is, he's making the most of it. He's within 1.4. Oh, Kieser is now past Valentino Miri as well.
Is that a fuel issue? Under fuel?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
There wouldn't be any other reason to go so slow. Not enough fuel to get themselves to the end of the race.
Well, yeah, so I mean, Kieser's in the pro, so it's not going to cost points, but still, yeah, Valentino Miri, who's behind now? Monroe, then Zachev and Buren. But yeah, there's confirmation then, Kieser, and yeah, you're right, Valentino Miri not moving the quickest at the moment. Wow, already in 6th gear. Yep.
Must be
wow.
fuel save.
Big lifts.
Okay. Still in second place in class right now, but Zachev is definitely closing rapidly. 2 more laps perhaps. I don't think Marie's going to be able to keep hold of that second place in the silver class, as a yellow flag is out. Who is that facing the wrong way? KTM 77 Pele dropped to the rear of the field.
Yeah, we can get a quick look at this. No other cars nearby. This is heading into Ascari. Yes, it is. Yep, the curves in Ascari can be absolutely lethal, as we've seen so far. Soaking the gravel. Oh, that's a big tap on the wall, and the KTM facing the wrong way. No facing the wrong way for... Oh, let's get a decent camera on this one. It's all gone. There we go. Yes, the leader is on the final lap. It is Christoph Verstappen. Not sure why we got that notification early, but yeah, Verstappen will finish this lap 4.7 seconds ahead of Butek. So despite the straight line prowess of the Mercedes, it's Verstappen through the corners. It's going to be a 1-2 for the GT2s. Quite the strategy and drive by Dan Watts. 1.9 seconds ahead of Sidlowski in the GT2s. Started second in the GT3s, did Mr. Watts, back to the overall lead, the pro lead, and yeah, on the podium, not too shabby as shown given the GT2's straight line dominance. Brackstad going to finish second in the pros with Guertz just behind. Great drive from him in the McLaren to fend off the advances of Boyle at the end. He's made himself up a few spots, unsurprisingly. He's got a 2.1 second gap back to Rollins. Monroe, Zachev and Valentino Miri all having good... Monroe and Zachev having good races. Valentino Miri dropping down the order. No fuel. And has to do another lap. Would have been absolutely praying for Verstappen to close down. Oh, and the Buren's come in. Wow, Morton, the Buren's come in to the pits.
Oh no, ran out of fuel as well.
Wow.
And now Marie's got to drive through the track limits. Oh, it's all unfolding here. Final 5 minutes, it always happens.
Wow. the
Multiple
championship.
cars running out of fuel then.
Yeah, the championship connotations for this, for Valentino Miri here, are, yeah, fairly gargantuan. Oh, and I've missed Christoph for a second crossing the line. My apologies, Christoph. Let's see. There we go. Coming out of Ascari past the pit lane, it is Christoph Verstappen. Brings the KTM home to win the race. Great dive and drive. Butek in second. Dan Watts coming across the line in third place overall. First in the pros, Sadlowski finishing on the podium in the GT2s. There is Watts and his teammate side by side. Christian Romano across the line and straight into the pits as well. Oh, superb. They're all going to do some donuts. Love to see it. We've got more cars crossing the line, of course. Brakstad. There he is in the Porsche. There is Timo Guertz taking the checkered flag ahead of Joe Boyle. James Rawlings crosses the line for 6th in the GT2s. Kieser finishing on the podium in the pros. Luca Monroe with 6 in the GT2s. Great drive there, finishing ahead of Zachev. Taylor Brady has gotten himself ahead of Valentino Miri to finish 4th in class. I'm sure that would have seemed a long way away not too long ago.
Out of fuel, not even going to make the flag.
Oh, wow. Klaus, Klaus, the gentleman Christensen. Absolute kudos. Driver of the day right there. Wrong place, wrong time. Got annihilated for someone else's mistake. And he's going to make sure that Valentino Miri makes it across the line, which he does, to take the checkered flag. But he gets a 30-second penalty because he had a drive-through. So Christensen will take the position. Oh, Simon, another nice, calm ending to an SOP race. We can, really relax when these things come to an end. It's always easy to figure out what's going on where and what's happening in the championship. Woo!
Oh, you know what? I'd rather these chaotic ends than chaotic beginnings, because the beginning of the race, it set it up so beautifully for this type of finish, where multiple cars have run out of fuel, drive-through penalties. I'm surprised we only saw one. Just to add salt into the wounds, Valentino Miri picked up a drive-through penalty and ran out of fuel. The GT2s made their way to the front of the field as predicted. Dan Watts held his own there to take 3rd overall. It's a race that had it all. Joe Boyle fighting back through the field after a pit stop. Yeah, it was a fantastic battles up and down the field. And we head into Valencia round 6 next week now. I think we're going to see it all turned up on its head once again. I think the GT2s are going to struggle there, and we're going to see lots of the GT3s take the overall victories and top 3 spots. But only time will tell.
Indeed, yes. And you can catch it all here on YouTube. Make sure you're there for the final few rounds. I was not confident in braking and cornering, says Luke in the chat. A quick run down the final results. It was, as we saw, Verstappen taking the overall win. Butek in 2nd place, Sadlowski and Romano 3rd and 4th, with Boyle in 5th in the GT2s, ahead of fellow Maserati driving James Rawlings. Luca Monroe up to 7th, with Toman in 8th, Marusek in 9th, and Pell finishing in 10th position. In the GT3s, it was Timo Guertz. Oh no, a couple of drivers have backed out. Oh no, did Guertz win the silver? Who won the silver? Yeah, Guertz won the silvers. My apologies. Timo Guertz did win the silvers. Sorry, Timo. Timo Guertz wins the silvers now. The results have gone. Dan Watts won the GT3 Pros. Apologies, we're going to very quickly jump through the menu so we don't see more flickering, and we'll bring up the highlights from the race, of which there are many once again, so make sure you enjoy those at the end. As Simon said, we have Valencia next, and then I believe it's Circuit of the Americas. Simon.
Yeah, that's right. Valencia, Circuit of the Americas, and the Nordschleife finale. Only 3 rounds left in the 8-round championship, and it's been a fantastic one so far, so I can't wait for those.
Yeah, going to be absolutely incredible. Oops, it's broken again. Nope. Sorry,
I tell you what, that's
now.
helped Timo Gwert in the Silver Championship massively there, with Marie basically finishing last because of the drive-through penalty. Marie was on course to take the overall lead in the Silvers, but now they ran out of fuel and had the drive-through penalty. Gwert is once again comfortably in the lead of the Silver Championship.
Right, so just fixing that. Oh, no. Ah. Sorry, I've broke the broadcast. Okay, yeah, sorry. We'll leave that running there. Yeah, everything just disappeared for a minute. But yeah, some exciting racing still to come. Valencia, Circuit of the Americas, and the Nordschleife. We'll leave the highlights running so we can enjoy all of the opening battles. We'll be back on Twitch. We'll be broadcasting the rest of this series on YouTube. So thank you to everyone that's been subscribing and tuning in. Do feel free to share the stream far and wide, and pop a little thumbs up on there if you enjoyed it. Thank you very much. We'll be back on Sunday night for iRacing, the Road to Le Mans Season 2, more multi-class racing brought to you by the Masters of. So yeah, make sure you're on the Twitch page as well. Jump onto the SimGrid host page if you want to get involved in the racing. Still spaces in this championship and iRacing as well. If you want to get signed up and join in, I'll share the host page. Once you're on the host page on SimGrid, you can get a link to the Discord, jump in and get involved in the racing. And there we go, a reminder of the page there. Perfect. So there we go. Thank you to everyone that's been in the chat this evening as well. Nelson Pinto, Salmon Slews was in there. We had Dane Meany was in there, saying the reason he got such a quick time is he got a slipstream from Nelson Pinto. But yep, we'll still have, I'm sure, Miri to pros very soon indeed. Luca Monroe in there as well. Big thanks to the drivers, and of course big thanks to Simon. So thank you, Simon.
No worries, John. No worries, John. It's always a pleasure to join you in the commentary box.
Yeah, especially with these races, they're absolutely phenomenal. We'll leave you with the highlights, so enjoy those, and we'll be back on Twitch on Sunday night, and we'll be back with the continuation of this series on YouTube next Wednesday. So until then, it is a good night from Simon.
It's a good night from Simon.
And it's a good night from me. Stay safe, take it easy, have a great rest of your night. Good night.